The space station floated silently above the neutral planet of Virelia, a world known for trade, knowledge, and a mixture of species from across the galaxy. The station was massive, a sprawling city in orbit, with docking bays, market zones, and arenas that displayed everything from racing ships to combat exhibitions. For the humans who had just begun exploring deep space, Virelia was a marvel. Humans were still few in number, mostly engineers, explorers, and scientists, trying to find a place among the powerful alien species that had dominated the stars for millennia. Among the crowd gathered in the arena district, a young human woman named Maya walked slowly, her hands tucked into the pockets of her simple engineer uniform. She was small, with brown hair pulled into a loose ponytail, and eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Maya was known among her colleagues for her cleverness and quick thinking, though she was far from being a fighter. Another combat exhibition? She muttered to herself, scanning the arena. Aliens of all shapes and sizes crowded the stands tall, insect-like beings with 6 arms, towering reptilian warriors, and creatures with translucent skin that shimmered with light. Humans were rare here, and Maya felt their curious stares. Today's event was unusual. The announcer, a blue-skinned alien with 3 eyes, floated above the arena platform and shouted in a voice amplified by technology. "Citizens of Virelia, today the greatest warrior of the Zetherian Empire is here. She comes to challenge any who dare face her." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the crowd. Zyra, the legendary warrior, strode into the arena. Her armor gleamed, not with metal, but a strange, almost liquid-looking material that shimmered under the station lights. Her movements were precise, powerful, and full of confidence. Her skin was a deep violet, her eyes bright like molten gold, and her 4 arms flexed naturally as she approached the center. Maya felt her stomach twist with a mixture of awe and fear. The stories about Zyra were legendary. She had never lost a duel in her entire career, and had defeated warriors from dozens of species that humans hadn't even heard of. "She'll crush anyone," Maya whispered to herself. "Anyone." The announcer floated closer, his 3 eyes glinting. "Do we have any brave souls willing to step forward?" The crowd laughed. Many species whispered among themselves, pointing at each other. A few brave aliens strutted forward, flexing their muscles or showing off their psychic abilities. But one by one, they were dismissed by Zyra with a single glance. Maya didn't know what came over her. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was a desire to prove humans could do more than repair machines or follow orders. Without thinking, she stepped forward. The crowd gasped. A human, a small, fragile human, was stepping into the arena to challenge the greatest warrior in the galaxy. "Wait," an alien whispered behind her. "Is she serious?" "She'll die. In a second." Maya swallowed hard but didn't move back. Her mind raced. She knew she wasn't strong. She wasn't trained for combat like Zyra. But she had one advantage humans often had: creativity. Zyra's golden eyes focused on her, and a slow smile appeared. "You, human, you dare challenge me?" Her voice was calm, almost amused, yet carried a strength that made Maya's knees shake. "Yes," Maya said, her voice steady despite her nerves. "I will face you." The crowd erupted in laughter. "She's joking," some shouted. Others shook their heads in disbelief. The aliens were certain this would be an easy victory for Zyra, and the human was nothing but entertainment. The announcer floated closer, clearly excited by the unusual turn of events. "It seems we have a human challenger. Are you certain?" "I am," Maya said. Her heart was pounding, but she forced herself to stand tall. Zyra walked closer, her 4 arms moving fluidly. She towered over Maya. Yet there was something in her gaze, a spark of interest. "Humans are unpredictable," she said. "This might be fun." The arena shifted. Holographic barriers raised themselves around the platform, creating a zero-gravity training field designed for sparring. Obstacles floated in the air, and holographic projections of past warriors appeared, ready to test the skills of combatants. Maya's stomach flipped. This was not just a duel, it was an entire challenge field designed to test strength, agility, and skill. Zyra stood in the center, her forearms crossed, watching the human closely. "Begin!" the announcer shouted. Immediately, Zyra moved, fast and precise. She leapt over obstacles, dodged holographic attacks, and struck targets with incredible speed. Maya tried to react, jumping and dodging, but she felt clumsy compared to the alien's fluid movements. Her heart raced, and she realized how dangerous this truly was. Yet she didn't give up. She noticed that the arena's holograms weren't perfect. They flickered slightly when she moved in certain ways. Using her knowledge as an engineer, Maya started to predict where the holograms would appear and adjusted her moves. She dodged more accurately, making herself a harder target. Zyra's eyes narrowed slightly. "Interesting," she murmured. "The human is adapting." The crowd fell silent. Many aliens began whispering among themselves. Humans weren't known for raw strength, but they were clever. And this human seemed to be learning and reacting in ways no one expected. Maya used a floating platform as a pivot, spinning herself and extending a small tool from her belt. She tapped it against the control panel, embedded in the arena floor. The platform shifted slightly, throwing one of Zyra's holograms off balance. It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Zyra stopped for a moment, observing Maya. "Clever," she said. "You are not just brave. You think." Maya felt a small surge of pride. This wasn't about winning yet. It was about showing that humans were more than they appeared. She ducked under a holographic strike and rolled behind a floating obstacle. Her heart pounded, but she began to enjoy the challenge. The alien crowd murmured in surprise. This human wasn't just surviving, she was creating opportunities, thinking ahead, and refusing to be intimidated by a warrior who had bested countless foes. Zyra moved faster now, her strikes more calculated, trying to test Maya's limits. But every time she attacked, Maya found small ways to evade or redirect the motion, relying on her mind instead of brute strength. The crowd grew louder, cheering for the human. Even some aliens clapped, impressed by her ingenuity. Humans were underestimated, and now one was proving that courage and cleverness could stand against raw power. Maya's mind raced. She had no idea how this would end, but she realized something important. She didn't need to defeat Zyra in strength. She just needed to show that humans were adaptable, unpredictable, and resilient. Minutes passed. The duel became a dance of wit and agility. Zyra's initial amusement had shifted to genuine interest. "You are different from others," she said aloud, almost to herself. "I did not expect this from a human." The arena echoed with cheers, whispers, and gasps. Maya's arms ached. Her legs burned, and sweat dampened her forehead. But she smiled. She had done something she never imagined. She had stood her ground against the galaxy's greatest warrior. Finally, Zyra paused mid-movement, her golden eyes locking onto Maya's. She lowered her stance, acknowledging the human's skill in front of the crowd. "You are remarkable, human," she said. "I will admit, this is more fun than I expected." Maya's heart skipped a beat. Zyra, the unbeatable warrior, had not only recognized her courage, but had also shown respect. The crowd erupted into applause. Humans were rare, but today, one human had captured their attention and changed the way they looked at an entire species. Maya stepped back, catching her breath. She realized that her life had changed in that moment. She had gone from a quiet engineer, overlooked by aliens and even humans, to someone who had earned recognition and respect in a galaxy full of formidable beings. And yet, she knew the real journey was just beginning. Zyra had accepted her challenge. But what would happen next? Could she continue to match this warrior? Or would she discover something about herself she had never imagined? Maya looked at Zyra, the alien warrior, and smiled faintly. She didn't know the answers yet, but she knew one thing. She was ready to find out. The arena was silent now, save for the faint hum of the zero-gravity field's energy. The floating obstacles drifted slowly, waiting for the duel to continue. Maya's chest heaved, her small frame barely catching her breath, yet her eyes sparkled with determination. She had survived Zyra's first wave of attacks. Now, she needed to prove that humans were more than they appeared. Zyra's golden eyes studied her carefully. "You have spirit," she said, her forearms flexing. "But spirit alone will not be enough." Maya nodded. "I don't have your strength, but I have other ways." The alien warrior tilted her head. The duel resumed. Zyra moved first, launching a rapid sequence of strikes. She darted through the holographic field, her movements fluid and powerful. Each punch, each kick, each step seemed perfectly calculated to overwhelm her opponent. Maya barely managed to roll under a strike, landing on a floating platform. Humans weren't known for raw combat ability, but humans were creative, unpredictable, and adaptable qualities Zyra hadn't faced in a long time. Maya knew she could not match strength with strength. She needed to think differently. She glanced around the arena. The platforms moved slowly, controlled by sensors and subtle energy fields. The holographic projections of past warriors flickered as they followed Zyra's movements. That flicker was her opportunity. Using her engineering knowledge, she calculated the timing of each hologram's movement and the platform's rotation. Then she acted. Maya jumped toward a floating console at the edge of the arena, tapping a few buttons with lightning speed. The platform beneath Zyra's feet shifted slightly, just enough to make her miss a strike. The alien's golden eyes narrowed, and a faint smile crossed her face. "Clever human," Zyra said. "You use your mind instead of your muscles." "Interesting," Zyra said. "Orga." Maya smiled faintly. "It's what humans do best." The audience had gone silent, watching in astonishment. Aliens whispered to each other. A human, small, fragile, and unarmed, was holding her own against a legendary warrior. Some even began cheering. Zyra decided to test Maya further. With a burst of speed, she activated a holographic clone of herself. Two Zyra warriors now moved in perfect synchronization, attacking from different directions. Many challengers would have panicked. But not Maya. Maya observed the clones carefully. She noticed that their movements mirrored the real Zyra, but there was a slight delay in the hologram's attacks. Using that tiny fraction of time, she dodged each strike, weaving between the two Zyra forms. She grabbed a small tool from her belt and used it to deflect a holographic energy blade, sending it spinning harmlessly into the field. Zyra's golden eyes widened slightly. "You adapt quickly." "Yes," Maya said, her voice calm despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. Zyra leapt higher, attacking from above with her forearms in a coordinated strike. Maya's heart pounded. She couldn't dodge all 4 strikes by conventional means. But then, an idea struck her. She kicked off the platform she was standing on, spinning mid-air, and grabbed a nearby floating cylinder that had once been part of the arena's support system. Using it as a shield, she deflected 2 of Zyra's strikes. The other 2 missed by inches as she rolled past the final holographic clone. The audience gasped. Humans were not only surviving, they were using their environment and clever thinking to counter pure strength. Zyra paused mid-movement, her golden eyes locked on Maya's. "I underestimated you," she admitted. "Most challengers would have been crushed by now. Yet you, human, you persist. And you think. You are unusual." Maya's lips curved into a small smile. She didn't feel invincible, she was exhausted, but she felt alive, sharper, and more capable than ever. The duel continued. Zyra now increased her speed, her movements almost a blur. She attacked from unpredictable angles, using gravity shifts and holographic projections to confuse Maya. But humans had one advantage that no alien warrior could replicate: creativity under pressure. Maya noticed that some of the floating holograms had weak points. The sensors controlling them were visible if one looked closely. With careful timing, she nudged a hologram toward Zyra, creating a distraction. Zyra dodged instinctively, but the human gained crucial seconds to reposition herself. Zyra's forearms moved faster now, but Maya had a plan. She spotted a small, floating energy panel at the edge of the arena. With a precise jump, she slammed the panel into a spinning hologram, causing it to glitch. The glitch created a temporary barrier between her and Zyra, giving her a moment to catch her breath. The audience erupted in cheers. "She's amazing!" shouted an alien with scaled skin. "A human!" Maya's confidence grew. She realized that she didn't need to defeat Zyra outright. Her goal was to show that humans could survive, adapt, and think in ways others could not. Zyra approached, her forearms lowering slightly. "You are not just clever," she said. "You are fearless. Most challengers would have fled or surrendered by now. You fight with your mind and your heart. That is something rare in the galaxy." Maya felt her chest swell with pride. For centuries, humans had been considered weak, fragile, and unprepared for the harshness of space. But here she was, proving that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could hold their own against the galaxy's finest warrior. The duel grew more intense. Platforms shifted rapidly, holograms attacked in unpredictable patterns, and the arena's gravity fluctuated. Maya's small body moved with astonishing agility, twisting, dodging, and using every tool she could reach. Her hands and feet worked instinctively, guided by her mind. Zyra noticed something unusual. Maya didn't just react, she predicted. She anticipated attacks, read patterns, and found creative solutions in moments. Zyra had fought thousands of skilled warriors, but few had shown such adaptability. The alien warrior launched a series of high-speed strikes, moving so fast that the audience could barely follow her. Maya took a deep breath. She remembered one of her favorite principles from engineering. Sometimes, the simplest solution is the most effective. She grabbed a floating holographic control device and tapped it. Instantly, the platforms shifted slightly, tilting in ways Zyra did not anticipate. The next strike that would have hit Maya landed safely on a floating platform, giving her the perfect opening to roll past Zyra and gain distance. Zyra's golden eyes widened in surprise. She had anticipated Maya's every move. Almost. "Impressive," she muttered, her voice low and thoughtful. "This human is learning too fast." The crowd was on its feet, cheering wildly. Humans rarely received attention in intergalactic duels, but today, one human had captured the entire arena's fascination. Minutes passed, yet neither Maya nor Zyra slowed. Each attack, each dodge, and each maneuver was a testament to human creativity versus alien might. Maya was exhausted, sweat dripping down her face. But her mind raced, always looking for the next opportunity. Then came a critical moment. Zyra launched a spinning attack, moving so fast it seemed almost invisible. Maya's instincts kicked in. She grabbed a small, floating beam from the arena structure and angled it just right. The beam reflected Zyra's attack, redirecting the energy harmlessly into the arena's walls. The audience gasped. Humans didn't just survive, they used their environment and intellect to counter an alien warrior in ways no one expected. Zyra paused, her chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. "You are remarkable," she admitted. Not because you are strong, but because you are clever, adaptable, and fearless. Maya felt a surge of pride. She had not defeated Zyra yet, but she had survived, impressed, and earned respect. For the first time, she felt the truth of what humans could accomplish when they relied on mind, heart, and courage rather than sheer power. The duel slowed. Zyra's movements became more measured, almost thoughtful. "I see now," she said. "Humans are not to be underestimated. Strength is not always physical. Cleverness, courage, and adaptability. These can be stronger than muscle or speed." Maya nodded, exhausted but smiling. "Exactly." The audience erupted, cheering for the human. A new understanding had formed. Humans were unexpected, resourceful, and capable of surprising even the greatest warriors in the galaxy. Zyra lowered her arms and stepped back. "We will continue another time," she said, a faint smile on her face. "You have earned my respect, human." Zyra lowered. Zyra lowered her arms. Zyra lowered her arms. Zyra lowered her arms. Human. Maya's legs shook as she stepped down from the platform. She had survived the duel, impressed the legendary Zyra, and changed the perception of humans in the arena forever. As she left the field, the crowd's cheers still ringing in her ears, Maya realized something important. This was only the beginning. Humans were not the strongest species, nor were they the fastest. But with courage, intelligence, and adaptability, they could stand alongside the greatest beings in the galaxy, and perhaps even surpass them in ways no one expected. And somewhere, deep in the arena, Zyra watched the human walk away, a thoughtful expression on her face. The warrior realized that she had encountered something rare, someone who could challenge the status quo without relying on raw strength alone. For Maya, the journey was just beginning. She had survived the first wave, but what lay ahead would test her creativity, courage, and ingenuity even more. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, and she intended to face them all with her mind, her heart, and the spirit of a human, ready to prove her worth. The arena had fallen quiet. Even the hum of the zero-gravity field seemed to fade into silence, as Zyra, the legendary alien warrior, studied Maya with new eyes. The small human stood tall despite exhaustion, her chest rising and falling rapidly, sweat glistening on her forehead. She had survived wave after wave of attacks, adapted to holographic illusions, and used the arena itself as a tool. Zyra's forearms lowered slowly, a subtle gesture of acknowledgement. "You are remarkable," she said softly. "Not because you are strong in the traditional sense, but because you are clever, adaptable, and unafraid. That is something rare in the galaxy." Maya's heart skipped a beat. Recognition from Zyra, the undefeated champion, was more than she could have imagined. She nodded, keeping her eyes steady. "Thank you. I've learned that humans survive because we think, not just because we fight." The audience erupted, cheering for the human once more. Even aliens who had initially doubted her began to whisper in admiration. Today, a human had proven that courage, creativity, and intelligence could hold their own against raw strength. Zyra moved closer, her gaze intense yet thoughtful. "You have survived challenges that would destroy most warriors. But this is only the beginning. You are clever, yes. But how far can human ingenuity really go? Can it outlast even the greatest force of the galaxy?" Maya smiled faintly, wiping sweat from her brow. Zyra tilted her head, intrigued. "Bold. Humans are bold, yes. Reckless, but bold." She stepped back, gesturing to the arena. "Very well. Let us continue, but now, you will see the full measure of a Zytherian warrior." The holographic field shifted. Platforms rotated faster. Obstacles darted unpredictably, and multiple holographic copies of Zyra appeared, each moving independently, testing Maya's perception and adaptability. The challenge had escalated. The duel was no longer a simple test of reflexes. It had become a battle of wits, timing, and creativity. Maya's small hands clenched. Her body ached, every muscle screaming, but her mind worked faster than ever. She observed the patterns carefully, noticing slight delays in the hologram's responses. Humans were never the strongest species, but their strength was in thinking ahead, predicting outcomes, and improvising. As Zyra's clones lunged, Maya rolled and twisted, using the floating platforms as shields and leverage. She grabbed a small tool from her belt, extending it toward a control panel hovering nearby. With a few quick taps, she manipulated the arena's energy fields, sending a wave of holographic glitches that disrupted the clones' movements. The audience gasped. Humans didn't just react, they innovated in the moment, using the environment and technology to survive. Even Zyra's golden eyes widened slightly. "You are truly unpredictable," Zyra admitted. "Most would fail by now. You, human, you turn obstacles into opportunities." Maya's pulse raced. Every movement mattered. Every choice could determine success or failure. She leapt onto a rotating platform, flipping mid-air to avoid a spinning hologram. Her tool connected with a floating energy panel, creating a brief energy pulse that knocked another hologram off balance. Zyra's real form moved with incredible speed, striking from unexpected angles. Maya narrowly avoided an energy strike, twisting her body mid-air and landing on a floating platform that had tilted beneath her weight. The audience watched, riveted, as a human performed feats of ingenuity that no one had expected. Minutes passed, and the duel intensified. Zyra's attacks became faster, more coordinated, and more unpredictable. Yet Maya adapted, reading patterns, exploiting small weaknesses, and using her tools to create openings. Humans might have been considered weak, but their creativity, resourcefulness, and courage gave them an edge no one could ignore. At one point, Zyra launched a spinning attack, her four arms moving in perfect synchronization. Maya's options were limited. She saw a small energy conduit floating nearby and realized that if she timed it perfectly, she could redirect the attack. Taking a deep breath, she swung the conduit into the path of Zyra's strike. The energy pulse bounced harmlessly into the arena wall, and Maya rolled past, landing safely behind a platform. The audience erupted into cheers. Humans were not only surviving, they were innovating, adapting, and overcoming impossible odds. Zyra paused for a moment, watching Maya catch her breath. "You are remarkable," she said quietly, almost to herself. "I have faced warriors stronger, faster, and more powerful. Few have challenged me as you have, not with force, but with wit and courage." Maya's chest rose and fell rapidly. She was tired, her arms and legs burning, but she felt a surge of pride. This was what humans could do: overcome, adapt, and surprise. The duel reached its climax. Zyra activated her full-speed mode, her form blurring as she moved with lightning precision. Holographic copies attacked from every direction, and platforms spun violently. Most warriors would have been overwhelmed. But Maya did not panic. She had learned to read, anticipate, and improvise. She noticed that one of the energy nodes controlling the holograms had a small delay in response. Timing it perfectly, she tapped the node with her tool, sending the holographic copies spinning off course. Zyra's real form lunged for what she thought would be an easy strike, but Maya anticipated it. With a well-timed jump and spin, she dodged the attack entirely. For a moment, the arena froze. Zyra's golden eyes locked onto Maya's. There was no anger, no frustration, only admiration. The human had survived the ultimate test and even gained the upper hand through sheer intelligence and creativity. Zyra lowered her arms fully, standing in the center of the arena. "Enough," she said. Then, with head off, You have proven what I came here to learn. Humans are not weak, nor fragile. They are clever, resilient, and courageous. You, human, are extraordinary. Maya's legs shook as she landed. She had survived Zyra's full power, impressed the legendary warrior, and shown that human ingenuity could rival raw strength. The audience erupted, cheering wildly. Aliens who had doubted her now looked on with astonishment. Humans had earned respect through intelligence, creativity, and courage, not brute force. Zyra approached Maya, her forearms lowering in a gesture of acknowledgement. I have seen many warriors in my lifetime, she said softly. Few have survived as you have. But more importantly, few have inspired me as you have. You remind me that strength is not just muscle. It is heart, mind, and courage. Maya felt a lump in her throat. She had never imagined that she could earn such recognition. Thank you, she said simply. I only did what humans do best: adapt, survive, and never give up. Zyra nodded. Indeed. Humans are unpredictable and clever. That is why they endure, even in a galaxy full of beings stronger, faster, and deadlier. For a long moment, the two stood silently, eyeing each other with mutual respect. The duel had ended, but something more profound had begun. Zyra saw a potential ally, someone who could bring new ideas and creativity into a universe accustomed to predictable power. Maya realized that she had stepped into a galaxy full of challenges, and she was not alone. Would you consider joining me on my journeys? Zyra asked suddenly. I explore uncharted worlds, face dangers, and encounter civilizations that test every skill. I could use someone clever, adaptable, and fearless like you. Maya's eyes widened. She had dreamed of adventure, of exploring beyond the stars, but she had never imagined an invitation from a legendary warrior herself. I would be honored, she said, trying to steady her voice. The audience watched, enthralled, as the human and alien warrior formed a silent agreement. Today, humans had proven that they could stand alongside the greatest beings in the galaxy, not through brute strength, but through intelligence, courage, and creativity. Zyra placed one hand lightly on Maya's shoulder, a gesture that in her culture signified trust and respect. Together, we will see what humans and aliens can accomplish, she said. The galaxy has much to teach and much to challenge. Are you ready? Maya nodded, her heart pounding with excitement. I'm ready. The crowd cheered one last time as Maya and Zyra left the arena together. Humans had earned their place in a universe that once dismissed them as weak. Today had proven that spirit, ingenuity, and determination could overcome even the greatest odds. As they floated through the docking bay toward Zyra's sleek starship, Maya felt a sense of purpose she had never known. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and opportunities. With courage, intellect, and a bit of human unpredictability, she realized she could face anything. And somewhere in the shadows of the arena, aliens whispered among themselves. Humans were no longer to be underestimated. For Maya, the adventure had only just begun. She had survived, impressed, and inspired. The galaxy awaited, and she was ready to show that humans small, clever, and courageous could change the course of events in ways no one imagined. The starship doors closed behind them, and the first steps of a new alliance between human ingenuity and alien might began. Humanity had proved itself not by brute force, but by heart, mind, and unyielding courage. And somewhere deep in the cosmos, Zyra smiled, knowing she had found a companion who could challenge, inspire, and redefine what it meant to be strong.